Good evening, and welcome to another edition of This Week in Education. Our top story tonight, with so many schools having difficulty meeting the benchmarks of the federal No Child Left Behind Act, we wanted to see just what these schools were doing to address the issues. For our report, let's turn to Mike Webster at Reagan High School.
A lesson from a third grade dropout. When kids can't read. Changed leadership. Fires in the bathroom. On common ground. So many problems, so many solutions. But does any of it really work to fix our schools?
Reagan High School sure thinks so. I sat down with Reagan School Improvement Facilitator Tracy Lewis.
Ms. Lewis, I'll get right to the point. What could improve the quality of education here at Reagan High School?
I'm happy that you asked, Mr. Webster. Right here, on common ground.
On Common Ground by Rick DeFore and his crew. I'm familiar with the work. What in particular are you impressed with about it?
It's about the power of professional learning communities.
Professional learning communities, or PLCs. It looks like this. You've got students. They go to school. You want them to graduate. But what is it you want students to learn? How will you know they've learned it? And most importantly, what do you do if they don't? And then it hits you. PLCs. Teachers coming together to answer those three essential questions. How do you think these questions are being answered at Reagan High School?
They are at the forefront of all the work that we do in our professional learning communities. When departments meet, when academies meet, those are the three questions that we come back to. We start there and we end there.
So you're saying that if I go out on this campus right now, I will see teachers actively using PLC work on common ground in their classrooms?
Yes, we read it together. We talk about the issues that the book brings up. We are striving to answer those three questions, have answers for them, know them, and implement those actions immediately for all students.
Well, this will be interesting to see then, won't it?
Yes, it will. I can't wait.
We couldn't either. With some 300 schools and 200,000 students, the Houston Independent School District is charging people like Lewis with the task of implementing PLCs on their campus. A particularly challenging task for Reagan High School, where structural changes and instructional changes are both taking place at the same time. So just how do PLCs fit into this Reformation model? We spoke first with the principal of Reagan High School, Connie Berger.
How are professional learning communities helping this campus?
Professional learning communities are uniting this campus together. Not only is this a mandatory district-wide initiative, it is a school-wide initiative, and it sets the standards for our academics here at Reagan.
That's great. And I can imagine that with all the construction challenges, it's rather difficult.
It is not difficult for us here at Reagan because as educators we're very flexible and we make things work. The academic challenges that we have, actually what I'd like to challenge you is to get out there and speak with the teachers. Out there is where you will see professional learning communities at work despite the construction you see here at
The
Reagan.
teachers?
Yes, the teachers. The teachers here, they know what's the direction we're going in. And we could sit here, you and I as the principal and the reporter, talking all day about PLCs. But if you want to see them in action, you need to get out in the building and see what's going on. And just keep in mind, the staff here, they are the wind beneath my wings.
Alright guys, today we're going to be studying Bernoulli's equation. What's really cool about Bernoulli's equation is this is the reason airplanes fly. So you have this tremendous upward force that pushes up on the airplane wing and causes it just to lift up the wing and make this
I guess Principal Berger wasn't joking.
To fly off into the sky instead of dropping down on the ground and just fall.
So we took her up on her offer and spoke to a number of Reagan faculty members. We started with Reagan's reigning Teacher of the Year, Trey Dodd.
Well, Mr. Dodd, you are the science department head at Reagan.
Yes.
You're the swim coach,
Yes.
the
track coach.
Yep.
The cross-country coach.
Yes.
The Reagan Teacher of the Year.
Yep.
The Central Region Teacher of the Year.
Yes, sir.
HISD's Teacher of the Year.
Well, give me a few more years.
All right, well, let me just ask you. You basically are a campus leader.
Yeah.
The teachers go to you for advice.
Well, I don't know if I go that far, but yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah.
So, to you, what is a PLC?
Well, PLC is this really neat concept where the students are grouped by a concentration of interest, like computers or health science or whatnot, and they go with each other. They have the same classes together all 4 years, along with teachers that are in their PLC as well. So they have the continuity of moving with each other all 4 years of high school.
Yes, I like that continuity. Now, you say 4 years, they all follow each other with the teachers.
Exactly. Well, that's the theory at least.
Right. So what is it that makes the PLC?
Well, actually, it's the teachers and the camaraderie that comes from that. In fact, most of the good PLC planning occurs at the Biscuit.
Ah, the Biscuit. That's the teacher lounge.
Not quite. Actually, the Biscuit is a bar. What was the original question?
Clearly, Dodd was confused about the concept of PLCs, and he was not alone.
PLC. I'm glad you asked.
Let me give you a little insight on exactly what a PLC is. See, here at this school, this particular school where we are, you have professionals who take place learning in this community.
I've actually been working on a book that deals with the concept of a PLC. It's called When Teachers Don't Do Their Jobs by Maverick Welsh.
Now, what is a PLC? It's where professionals are professionalizing learning in this particular. Yeah, it's a word, and you can definitely look it up. Look in Webster.
PLC is putting teachers on growth plans.
It's a growth plan.
It's a growth plan. It's, teachers getting in trouble.
So, Ruth Kravitz, tell me about your experience with PLCs on this campus.
It's teachers who aren't performing well getting punished.
What exactly is a PLC?
I have no idea what a PLC is.
It's not what you want to happen to you.
This is all stupid, superfluous crap. The root causes of the problems in our schools are inequity and poverty, and that's it.
Back to a PLC. A PLC is really guided by 3 questions. The first question, what do we want teachers to teach?
I need to know, how are you functioning in your PLC?
Oh, it's great. I thought I was not going to get a classroom set up like this, but they moved me anyway. It's nice.
The second question, what do we do if teachers don't teach? Like consequences and stuff. And the third question,
What is the current status of PLCs on this campus?
Do you want the truth?
Yes, just how prevalent are they?
You're barking up the wrong tree.
I'm not sure I
You got
understand.
the wrong story. Just yesterday, I busted 4 kids with Xanax bars. That's the real problem. In fact, I can't think of a PCP bust we've had on this campus ever.
The LC part's learning community. The P, not so sure. I don't think it has anything to do with the gym. So, as far as I know, you're gonna have to ask an academy leader.
you mind if I take a look at my other copy?
Talk to our academy leader, Dave Messina. Just go run along and talk to him.
Messina. Go for Messina.
Would Dave Messina, an academy leader, provide us with more insight? Well, I can tell that you're busy, but I just wanted to find out, what do you know about PLCs in the book On Common Ground?
On Common Ground? Oh, that's a good book. I got it right here. What do you want to know? It's good. What do you want to know about the book?
Mr. Messina, are you even keeping up with the reading of this book?
No, I don't read it. I just go downstairs. I talk to Shay. I say, Shay, what did it say in the book this week? He tells me. Then I go to the academy meeting. There you go. Done.
But you're an academy leader.
And I'm leading them. I know everything about the book without reading it. That's leadership.
It appeared that only one person was reading the book, Mr. Shea. And boy, did he have quite a suggestion.
We need to sit down with a box of highlighters and dissect this thing, chapter by chapter.
It's that good.
Yes, it is that good. Let me just read you a little passage.
By all means.
How can we expect to instill in our students the collaborative nature of effective workplaces if we ourselves work like little rats, scurrying to our own little individual baseboard holes each time an institution rings an artificial bell? How can we do that?
Does it really say that?
Word for word.
Mr. Shea.
Well, the part about the rat's mine, but the rest of it's right there. You can read it.
I am an agent for change? These are your notations. I said this in 83.
I was thinking that in 83. Whatever, I don't know what it is.
Well, I'm guessing that's what it means. It says, I said this 83.
I was thinking Rick DeFore said it.
Mr. Shea, I mean, this is some outlandish stuff. I mean,
I'm making notes. That's all it is.
The last time I held
Don't you ever write in a book? You know, these are private.
Are you uncomfortable with this conversation?
No, it's just those are my personal notes, and you know, I don't see where they're relevant to our conversation.
I've heard that you are actually incorporating this into your classroom.
On common ground. On common ground. Are we on common ground?
Is this true?
Yes, it is.
Are we on common ground?
Yes, we are.
I can't hear you. Are we on common ground? People, are we on common ground?
Yes, we are. My students are going to be part of professional learning communities when they graduate, be it when they go to college, after college. They're going to have to be working with people. And those communities that they'll be part of will be professional learning communities.
Okay. Are you too close to this?
Listen to this. Listen to this little piece of wisdom. In the hands of a capable professional learning community, assessment is relentlessly constructive and focused on a single purpose: the improvement of teaching and learning, and that is why we are here.
Mr. Shea, are you too close to this material?
No. I'm an agent. An agent for change.
Dude is a freak. Not a day goes by where I don't hear about PLCs and uncommon ground.
It's on common ground.
What?
It's on common ground, not uncommon ground.
Whatever.
Mr. Smith, I don't even see the book in your room.
Oh yeah? Right there. On common ground.
What is your objection to reading this material?
I don't have an objection. I'll read it. But not because it's a hip new thing. I'm not going to let it consume my life. Okay? It's a book about PLCs. You want to talk about PLCs? I'll talk about PLCs. PLCs are supposed to build bridges, not burn them. Did you hear about Shea coming at me like some punk juiced up on common ground?
You were physically attacked by Mr. Shea?
Listen, I wasn't going to say anything. Shea's a good guy. It's no big deal. Comes in my room, throws down with me because I hadn't done my on common ground reading.
Throws down?
Yeah, no big deal.
You fought?
More of a scuffle.
Fought with Mr. Shea.
Damn right I did. Caught it all on the tardy cam. Right there, that little bad boy.
Mr. Smith, would you be willing to let us have that video footage for our report?
No.
Well, why not?
Listen, you're a punk, you're a snake in the grass, and even though Shea stepped in my cage, ruffled my feathers, that's a family thing.
Let's just
okay?
calm down.
Family thing. He's no snake in the grass, all right, like you.
I just need the footage, Mr. Smith.
No, this interview's over. I said over.
Well, Mr. Smith's allegiance to his little boys' club was quite admirable. But this reporter wouldn't have been doing his job had he not exposed the little tete-a-tete that took place. An unconfirmed source has provided me with this. The tape from the tardy cam. Let's just check it out, shall we?
are working in the same bubble. You got your personal bubble. Now 6 trades of quality teaching. It's about common ground.
Ah, what level offense is that, Mr. Shea? 1, 2, 3. I'm anxious to find out, aren't you? With the disturbing image of Mr. Shea caught on tape, we wanted to know what the authorities were doing about the situation, and more importantly, what were they doing about their own PLCs? Ah, Miss Dickey.
Hi, Mr. Webster. Please have a seat.
Ah, thank you. Miss Dickey, were you aware that one of your teachers is under the influence?
What? Who?
Yes, Michael Shea is under the influence.
Oh, right. Give it up. Shay's on the straight and narrow.
Mr. Shea is under the influence of Rick DeFore.
Okay, that's enough. Get out. Goodbye.
Wait, there's some disturbing images that I think you ought to see.
Oh, wow. You got it all on tape
Sure
here?
did,
That is great. So I should look at this now?
Yes,
You
that
are
would be
just a
advisable.
master.
Wait.
Sleuth. I cannot believe
that's hard
this.
evidence to prove.
I don't care.
That's hard evidence.
Oh, you mean this?
That was evidence that I collected personally. My investigative report led to that evidence of a teacher involved in a battery.
Look, it's all gonna be okay. We don't need any scandals at Reagan High School. Mr. Shea's under a lot of pressure. He's got the triplets. Let's just leave this alone, okay?
Leave this alone? I don't think so. 10 teachers, 2 administrators, none of whom can tell me one thing about PLCs. But who can forget Ms. Lewis's emphatic belief that PLCs were working at Reagan? And what about Mr. Shea's fanatical appreciation for Rick DeFore? Something wasn't adding up. But then again, it all did add up. It added up to big tech. From big dollars. For one person.
Let's look a little further around in his room, shall we?
What is that? 32? 64? Nice flat screen. Top of the line HP computer. Maxed out. Document cam. Did everybody have one of these? The Starboard. Every teacher's dream. High-powered scanner. No need for Google here. Color photo printer. Must be nice. But who needs photo when you can have live action? And here it is. The creme de la creme for teachers. No copy room lines for Mr. Shea. Oh no. His stuff comes out instantly. And it doesn't stop there. The tech just keeps on rolling, straight down to Mr. Shea's room. All this tech must have cost somebody some money, and surely not Mr. Shea. Let's just check the record, shall we? Ah, here we are. L for Lewis. Miss Lewis.
Hi, Mr. Webster.
I was wondering if I could have another word with you.
Sure, no problem.
Great. Miss Lewis, having traversed the campus to find out about PLCs, I was a little surprised by what I found in the teachers' rooms. Nothing. How do you respond to this?
Well, the book on Common Ground was a new initiative established at the beginning of the year to help strengthen our work on PLCs.
Initiated. By who?
The school.
But who in particular in the school?
Stop. You know who.
Right. But for the record, it's your initiative, right?
Correct. It is mine.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's in your best interest for the teachers to read the book.
That's a given.
But Ms. Lewis, the teachers aren't reading the book.
Some are.
Some are. Like who?
Well, there's Mr. Shea.
Mr. Shea, your star teacher.
Yes, Mr. Shea.
Don't you think Mr. Shea is, how would we say, a bit over the top about PLCs?
Mr. Shea's reputation as being one of the finest teachers, not only at Reagan, but in HISD, is well documented with awards. So if he can benefit from PLCs and Uncommon Ground, then everyone can.
Well, he certainly has benefited from being cozy with you.
I object to the word cozy. And where are you going with this?
Where am I going with this? Miss Lewis, I want to show you something. Can you come here and take a look at this?
Sure.
Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And is this your signature?
Yes, it is.
And is this your signature?
Yes.
And is this one your signature?
Yes, it is my signature.
So it's safe to say that if you were to look through all these orders and you saw your signature, that you would know you signed these orders.
Yes, Mr. Webster. I'm sure you're aware that in my position as SIF, I do a lot of orders for teachers and administrators.
Miss Lewis, look at this. Who are these orders for?
I don't recall, Mr. Webster. I do a lot of orders for teachers and
I
administrators.
think you do recall, Miss Lewis.
What are you insinuating?
What I am insinuating is, are these not orders that you have filled out and approved for Mr. Shea?
You know what? I'm not answering any more questions.
Well, I need you to answer this question for me. Are you not spending school money to get Mr. Shea what he wants to promote your own agenda?
What?
An agenda, I might add, that is failing.
Absolutely not.
Miss Lewis.
No more questions.
Miss Lewis, there's over $100,000 in less than 3 months here in orders.
No more questions. I am not
How are
going
you
to go
going to
over.
explain that to the
I'm
American
not going
taxpayers?
over individual orders with you. Not now, not ever. Thank you, Mr. Webster.
Well, this reporter is very, very flabbergasted by this action, Miss Lewis.
No more questions for Miss Lewis. But I still had questions. Chief among them, what was Mr. Shea doing with all that tech? And why was my search for the truth being met with such a hostile reception?
$100,000 buys a lot of computer equipment. More than one classroom can hold, I imagine. That's when this footage seemed a little suspicious to me and my cameraman as we were packing up. Where was Shea taking this equipment? And more importantly, what was he doing with it? Seems day after day after day. Mr. Shea was taking all of those computers to that storage unit.
Documents obtained by This Week in Education found that the storage unit was rented under an alias organization called CIH, with the address being 413 East 13th Street. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? That's right, Reagan High School. And even more shocking was Elizabeth Dickey's signature on the rental agreement. The pieces of this puzzle were coming together quickly, leading us to Mr. Shea's storage unit. Come on. Let's go.
Mr. Shea, Mr. Shea, what are you doing here? What are these computers? Mr. Shea, what are you doing with these computers? Are these not HIC's
I have
property?
permission to have these, okay? Put these here.
Are these not HIC's property?
Talk to Elizabeth Dickey.
Are you stealing these computers?
No, talk to Elizabeth Dickey, okay?
I'm going to ask you one more time. What are these computers?
These computers,
Are Miss Lewis and Miss Dickey involved in this?
I'm not answering, no.
Mr. Shea, we know about CIA.
Who told you about that? Was it Smith? punk stick in the grass. All right, let's do this. CIH, computers in the homes, all right?
That's right.
We're trying to get computers to kids who can't afford them. Lewis provided the funding, and Dickey provided the cover. Okay, that's simple. We used reform funds. We're reforming.
Mr. Shea, I have a few more questions I'd like to ask you. No. Mr. Shea.
Somebody
You're
has to help
stealing
these
from a
kids,
school.
okay? Somebody has to help these kids. We thought of a plan and a way to do that.
You're stealing
and
from the school,
we did
Mr.
it.
Shea. How do you respond to that? Stealing from the school, Mr. Shea, off the PLCs, right? So there you have it. Schools reforming lives. I don't think so. Not a teacher can tell us anything about PLCs. Not a teacher even remotely interested. Why? Why indeed? The next day, when Shea was finally calm enough to answer this question, I rattled his cage with yet another question. It seems that you're not a disciple of Rick DeFore, but Tracy Lewis.
All right, look. The whole thing's a game, all right? It's a business here, Mike. We're just playing a game. You have what you need on that?
So are you saying this whole thing is just a hoax, a big joke, the whole fight, the teaching to the kids, the notations in the book, is all a joke to you?
You know, you come in here looking to expose the fact that nobody's into this garbage, Mike. Okay? Big story, huge story. What you saw going on here, this goes on campuses all across the nation that have a little academic problem. Okay, Mike? That's what you saw.
Seems you're a little upset about this. I just want you to know, though, that I shine a light on issues that are pertinent for the public.
Well, shine a light on this, Mike. All these clowns like DeFore who come in here with their recycled ideas about education, they're actually doing more harm than good, Mike.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How so?
Because they offer simplistic, one-size-fits-all solutions to the real problems, the complex problems of education, Mike.
So, just tell me, why would schools buy into this if it's what you call
administrators, principals, school reformers, all looking for solutions. And the DeFores of this world and all those other lecture circuit babies, they're more than willing to fill that prescription, Mike. Do you honestly think that any teacher would spend a dime on this crap?
I think teachers would do whatever it takes to help students succeed. Whatever it takes.
And yet our school probably spent $2,000 on the hardback version of this book, okay? This dust collector that sits on the shelf, and I've got a whole shelf of them, Mike, okay? It's garbage.
Garbage? I began this report with an open mind, a camera, and a question. Are PLCs working for HISD and at Reagan High School? Now I leave with more questions. Was Mr. Shea right when he said that PLCs are another failed attempt in a long line of failed attempts by educational carpetbaggers? What would it look like for a team of teachers to sit down and really answer DeFore's essential questions? And do schools even understand the concept of PLCs? And really, does it even matter? You know, when I sat down and finally talked with Mr. Shea about real school reform, this is what he had to say.
Truthfully, Mike, I think we need to look inside. Each campus needs to look at its own particular problems. Okay, come together as a campus and work on those problems. We don't need educrats like Rick DeFore telling us what to do. That's where the solutions are, inside, not outside.
We're talking about computers in homes, right?
Yes.
Using school reform funds.
I admit, okay, it wasn't the most up and up thing. It's hard to get things done like that, okay?
Yeah, the way you went about it.
We needed solutions, okay? We were desperate for solutions. So we found out that a lot of our students don't have tech at home, not even computers. I'm not even talking about internet connection. They don't even have Microsoft Word. How can a 21st century student operate in this fashion? So what was our solution? Simple. Bring the computers to their home. Maybe we went about it a little wrong, but we were desperate, okay? And we needed answers. And Mike, the solutions, they're not in a book.
But how would Mr. Shea or anyone at Reagan High School really know this? In the book's current use as a condiment tray, as a table leveler, and as a dust collector, it's of little value. And therein lies the problem. You know, social critic and commentator John Ruskin once said, "Let us reform our schools, and we shall find little need to reform our prisons." Perhaps Ruskin was right. Perhaps PLCs could help. But then again, perhaps the problems with our inner city schools run much deeper than this. Perhaps, as Ms. Kravitz stated, the real problems are poverty and inequity in society. Problems that will require much deeper solutions than those offered by the educational reform industry. One thing is for certain, however. School reform needs reforming. For This Week in Education, I'm Mike Webster. Back to you, Jared.
Thanks, Mike. Great report. Well, will PLCs change Houston schools? Looks like there's a lot of work to do first. Next week, we look at athletics. Are athletic coaches the next big league in school reformers? The answer may surprise you. For This Week in Education, I'm Drew Thurman.
Since the airing of this edition of This Week in Education, we've been updated on some new events unfolding at Reagan High School. Mr. Shea's actions have led to a district investigation into the allocation of technological resources at Reagan High School.
Every other letter doesn't matter. A, B, C.
The investigation is still pending, but in the meantime, Mr. Shea is trying to survive as a low-tech teacher. Tracy Lewis has been relieved of her duties as school improvement facilitator and is now working at a different school in a new administrative capacity. Her purchasing rights have been revoked by the district. Vice Principal Elizabeth Dickey has been relegated to shuffling papers at a district distribution center, or what teachers dub teacher timeout, while the investigation ensues. And Mr. Smith may be the one person who benefited from this tale of woe. His tardy cam quickly won him accolades from the district. They have asked him to show how he keeps kids on track utilizing this technology.
I hope the system works well.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
He took it a step further and has written a book titled The Tardy Cam, Systems That Work. And as for PLCs, well, after this report first aired, Principal Berger decided to adopt a new reform initiative and a new school improvement facilitator.
Yep. Things are going to change around here at Reagan High School. There's a new sheriff in town. The best thing about this whole reform gig is that I'm closely connected to the author, if you know what I mean.
What are you going to do if teachers don't follow your lead?
You kidding me? That's rule 3, consequences. What gets documented gets done.
We'll see.
On the last splash.